think Henry David Thoreau knew something that we don't, because there are aspects of his life and the times he lived in that are shockingly similar to ours today. Thoreau lived from 1817 to 1862, and these were not easy times in America. It was a world of oppression and slavery, economic depression, high taxes, intrusive government, and he was tired of it. So in 1845, he built a one-room cabin in the woods on the shores of Walden Pond on land that his good friend Ralph Waldo Emerson owned, and he decided he was going to conduct a social experiment. Now, HDT was a transcendentalist. Sounds cool, right? Who doesn't want to transcend daily life? Well, transcendentalism is the belief in the essential unity of all creation, the innate goodness of humanity, the supremacy of insight over logic, and experience for the revelation of deepest truths. Henry wanted to spend his time in the cabin as an experiment to see if it was possible to flip the colonial script. Instead of toiling 6 days a week at material pursuits with 1 day of rest, he instead was going to spend 6 days living a life focused on pondering the world and his place in it, with just 1 day set aside for work. Are you wondering what happened? Well, his own words actually tell the story best. And this is an excerpt from the book Walden, from the Princeton edition, published in 1971. And Thoreau said, "I learned this, at least by my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. He will put some things behind, will pass an invisible boundary, new, universal, and more liberal laws will begin to establish themselves around and within him. Or the old laws be expanded and interpreted in his favor in a more liberal sense, and he will live with the license of a higher order of beings. In proportion as he simplifies his life, the laws of the universe will appear less complex, and solitude will not be solitude, nor poverty, poverty, nor weakness, weakness. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them." Judging by his words, it appears his experiment worked. In his day, Thoreau was described as a misfit, an environmentalist, an anti-slavery crusader, irresponsible, a pacifist, and a prophet. All of those, no doubt, were shaped and inspired by his 2 years on Walden Pond. How then do our surroundings influence our life, our dreams, our beliefs? Where we live shapes the essence of who we become and actually who we remain. So what country you were born in, the United States, Europe, Asia, what part of the United States you grew up in, the East, the South, it literally creates us. Henry changed his physical environment and put himself in the middle of the ebb and flow of life. How can we do that? This story made me think of how the very same thing on a smaller scale happens to me when I spend time in a new place, slowly soaking in the rhythm of it. I get this when I travel, when I remove myself from my normal, typical environment. I really love the experience of traveling solo for many reasons. But consider that when you are alone, your mind quiets. You have no one in your ear. You see and observe the world around you without the color of someone else's opinions, like Thoreau in his cabin. You travel slowly. I prefer being gone at least 1 month at a time. You are removed from your typical physical environment and your work environment, so your mind opens to all the possibilities in life that we otherwise silence and shut down. For that period of time, you break patterns. You realize you can make changes, small ones or life-altering ones. And you witness how other people live and recognize the value of doing things differently, or you gain empathy for others and gratitude for your own life's journey. And you tend to realize how little material things really matter. So while we live in a different century, I believe Thoreau's experiment has merit. Some might say even more so because of the social media society we exist in. I might start looking for a little cabin in the woods myself. I hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to know in the comments your thoughts on Thoreau's experiment in the woods, and I'd be grateful if you would subscribe. It really helps my channel. Take care.